Hello, cheapskaters. I'm Kath Armstrong, creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. If this is your first time visiting our channel, welcome. We're really glad to see you. And if it's not, welcome back. If you like our channel, and it's pretty easy to like, there are 3 simple things you can do. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Now, I'll do my very best to reply to your comments, usually the next day or as soon as I see them. But those 3 things really, really help lift our channel profile. And that makes it easier for other people to find us, other people who are looking to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. So if you could do those 3 things, that would be amazing, and I would really, really appreciate it. Have to say, the last week has been so busy. I'm really sorry to just have dumped you all last week, but when one of this mother's babies, even if those babies are adults, gets rushed to hospital in an ambulance, I go. She goes. No, I'm out of here. So Hannah is home. She is recovering. She doesn't have a definite diagnosis of what is wrong. She looks a bit worn out and tired, and that's probably because she is worn out and tired. Constant pain does that. I think anyone that's been in pain knows how wearing it is. But she's home for now. And so am I. I think I've been backwards and forwards to Hannah's place, from here to there, about 5 times in the last week. I'm pretty sure I've done it so many times that I know every curve and bump and crossroad and change in speed limit and overtaking lanes and merging lanes and all sorts of things along that highway. Been a few times. Anyway, thank you everyone for your prayers and for your messages. We are both very grateful, and if I haven't got back to you or Hannah hasn't got back to you, it's not because we're ignoring you. We're just a bit overwhelmed. That was the start of our very busy week. So Wayne and I were talking sometime during this week, and I know we talk a lot, and we were saying, isn't it funny how things go in cycles, fashion, fads, whatever goes in cycles. And what was on trend 50 years ago is back. And I bet 50 years ago they didn't say it was on trend. Now, we were talking in particular about hair, boys' hair actually, and how the trend now is they just let it grow long and tie it back in a ponytail or put in a bun. And it's sort of like when we were teenagers, only they let their hair get a bit longer. And we were saying, something old is new again. They think it's a new thing, but it's not really. Now, I know if we told the young man who started the conversation that he really wasn't doing anything new, that old hat, he very polite kid, so he'd smile nicely and nod and roll his eyes behind our backs probably. It's not funny how the young people seem to think that we've always been stick in the mud adults. We've never done anything like they do. So I already had this in the back of my mind, everything old being new again, things going around in cycles. And I started to notice over the weekend that, wow, guys, there's a new way to make scones. Now, I like scones, but making them the traditional way, and I'm pretty sure I've told you this before, you rub in the butter and add the milk to make the dough. It doesn't work with my hands anymore. My fingers can't rub in the butter. I've tried doing it in the food processor. It's just not the same. So I make lemonade scones, or I make these scones, the new old method. It's not new, been around for donkey's years. And so when I was thinking about tonight's show, I thought, you know what? It has been so long since I actually cooked something while we were chatting. We've been concentrating so much on preparing and, stockpiling. And it's been such a busy week. Scones just sounded really, really appealing. So I scrapped the show that I was going to do. We'll do that later. And we're going to make scones. And we're going to do the new old 2-ingredient scones. It's not a new recipe. It's not a new idea, guys. From my point of view, it's an old CWA recipe. Now, I love my CWA recipes. This is one that we'd make when we were catering, especially for large numbers, like estate sales, clearance sales. We did an ostrich sale, morning teas at an ostrich sale once. We made these scones because they're really quick, they're really easy, they're really good. You can't muck them up. You just can't muck them up. And it's so simple that it really doesn't need a written recipe. It really is that simple and easy. And pretty much most of us would have the ingredients in the pantry anyway. It's pretty easy. Now, I have turned the oven on and it is heating up. I need to stress this. I need to say this. It is not wasting power or gas to preheat your oven. If your recipe says preheated oven, that is a vital step in the recipe. Do not skip it, especially if you are baking using a rising agent, baking powder or yeast or self-rising flour. The oven needs to be at baking/cooking temperature when you put the scones or the bread or the cake or the pav or whatever you are making into that oven, so it starts cooking at the right temperature immediately. Putting it into a cold oven, you're setting yourself up for failure. 10 minutes max. It doesn't take long to warm up your oven. But having it at the right temperature when you put the things in means that it's going to bake in the correct time, it's going to cook or bake properly. And it also means that the leavening in the batter or dough or whatever isn't destroyed by being put into a cold oven and having to wait to warm up to start working its magic in your recipe. Now, for these scones, oven is set at 200. It's a fan-forced oven. If you have an older oven or not a fan-forced oven, 210, and that's Celsius. I also use baking paper on the tray. It's just easier. And baking paper can be used over and over and over. So, let's make some scones, and while they're baking, we'll have a chat. It's a really, really easy recipe. I've already started it. Let me get out of your way. Let's see, I'm going to have to do some shuffling around here in a moment so you can see what's going on. But it's a really simple recipe. Now, I have taken my self-rising flour and put 3.5 cups in a bowl. Now let me move you back a bit and down a bit. Close your eyes if you get seasick so you can see what's going on. Right, 3.5 cups of flour in the bowl. 1 600 ml bottle of cream. Open your cream. Gosh, they come with so many bits on them, don't they? And add some to the flour. Now I put in probably about half. I use a knife to do this bit to start the dough off. You use a spatula. You can use your hands if you want to. A knife is just easier. Now it's as simple as the lemonade scones, but I like this recipe better because it's not sweet. Okay, so when it gets crumbly like that and it's dry, I'm scraping off the sides, get all the flour in, add some more cream. I don't tip the whole bottle of cream in because, as you know, when you are working with flour and turning it into a dough, sometimes it needs more moisture, sometimes it needs less. Okay, so this is just a little bit dry, so we'll put a bit more in. That's all I'm doing, just mixing it in. Now this does not make a really firm dough. So about now is when I get to put my hands in, but I'm going to cheat tonight because I've got a band-aid on this finger, so it's going into a plastic bag because I don't have a rubber glove, and I am just going to use my hand to pick up the flour off the bottom and mold it into the dough. That didn't work, did it? Who saw that coming? All of you. Let me go do this way. Okay. Then to knead it, it just goes on to, let me see. Da, 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 da. Move the bits onto my pastry sheet, a little bit of flour. So you can see. Tip the dough out. Now, this is where my scone making differs from a lot of what I was seeing over the weekend. It does need to be kneaded. Just a little bit of flour. You can put some on your hand if it's just fold it over and bring it in, and fold it over and bring it in. But hand knead it and don't roll it. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm picking up it, flour all over because I didn't put a penny on. I'm picking up the extra flour as I go, just like so. Remember the old Sarah Lee ads? She rolls it, folds it, and rolls it. Well, we're sort of hand rolling it, unfolding it, and that's it. Okay, so shape it into a round. Now it's quite big. Press it down. Do not roll your scone dough. I know why people say roll it out with a rolling pin. Don't roll it out with a rolling pin. Press it out gently with your hand until it's about 2 centimetres thick. I'll lift it up. See? 2 centimetres. That's about it. What to do with the glass? I have a trusty glass. You can use a scone cutter if you like. I'm just dipping it in some flour. Down and up. Dip it in some flour again. Straight down, straight up. You'll hear it make that noise as the air comes out. Oh. There we go. It's quiet. That's a better one. Don't twist it. All these things help you get nice. Moving you back a bit so you can see some. Oh, help you get nice high scones. Just like so. All right. There's that. Get my tray, and you can see this one's already been used a few times. I made some earlier because when the troops heard there was going to be scones, it was a case of, what about me? I want scones too. So I made scones for afternoon tea as well. Now, these scones, they are not cheap unless you can get your cream reduced. You know, sometimes you're lucky enough to get it and it is marked down, or places like NQR Save More in Victoria will stick into my silicone. Places like NQR and Save More will often have cream cheap. So your discount supermarket type things, discount grocers will often have it reasonably cheap. That's good. Now you should get from this mix, you should get at least 12. They're about 5 centimeters across, I'm thinking. I've never really measured my jar, my little cup. It was part of a set that was, I think, a wedding or an engagement present. And I'm twisting, so did you see that? I should be going straight down and straight up. I was twisting. Let's see, and one last one that can be just the way it is, I think. Yep. Just roll it a bit. Okay, so there's 2, 4, there's 12 on that tray. That's it. That's as easy as it is. Now, I've got them on the tray, and they are just touching. Just touching, just up against each other touching. When they're on the tray and they're just touching like that, it actually helps them rise. It helps them lift. So into the oven they go. Minutes, and that's them done. So let me just tidy up this a bit, and I'll lift you back up, and you can keep chatting. Whoops, I lost you. These silicone pastry sheets are brilliant. Nothing sticks to them. Okay, that all gets washed up in a minute. Let me just wash my hands, guys. I'll be right back. Cold water. Okay. Oh, daisy. So that's how you make 2 ingredient scones. Sorry, I'm about to move you again so you can see, or I can see. There we go. A wee bit closer. Alrighty. Wow, lots of comments. That's it. See, they're not new. They're not new. I'm pretty sure you've probably made them too, or your grandma or your mum or your great-grandma, your auntie, someone has. Anyway, these are some that I made this afternoon. That's what's left of them. Here's one that I'm going to have with my homemade blackberry jam on it. I will have that and enjoy that later. Really easy. So there's lots of things in this world that all of a sudden are new. It's a new idea. It's a new, wow, that's so good. 2 ingredient scones, not a new idea. Been around for a gazillion years. What can I say? No, that's what people, it's cyclical. So that had me thinking about other things that are cyclical, like, debt. Yeah. We've got so much going on in our world at the moment that all we're hearing about is the cost of oil. Tonight, iron ore is dropping. The price of iron ore is dropping. That's not a good thing for us. We don't want that to happen. Things just going crazy, but it's a cycle. It is a cycle. What goes around comes around. I'm sure you've all heard that saying. So it's true, and it's with everything, not just 2 ingredient scones that really aren't that new. I guess if you are new to baking, then it's a new idea to you, but it's been around for a long time, and they're really, really good. Now, Joy's got some cream that needs using up. That cream came from my freezer. Now, this cream came from my freezer. I got it all. I got heaps. I think 6 or 7 bottles of it, marked down to 49 cents a bottle. Snapped them up, put them in the freezer. Don't have to use it all at once. It was in the freezer. A while back, Save More had cream really, really cheap in big bottles. So did NQR in big bottles. I think $6 for 5 litres or something like that. It was a really good price. $3 for 5 litres. It was an excellent price. Joy might know because I think she got some too. And it freezes. It freezes. So I just pull it out of the freezer when we want to make scones because my fingers don't work to do the rubbing in. And I did try putting the butter in the food processor through the chute, and it wasn't the same. So lemonade scones or 2 ingredient scones work fine. We just call them cream scones. Now I like this recipe, no sugar. When you make the lemonade scones, they're sweet. They're sweet scones, but these are the ones I used to make when the kids were at school, and I would slice them into 3 and spread them with tomato sauce, put a sprinkle of mixed herbs over them, a little bit of grated cheese, and I'd grill them, and they would have little mini pizzas, and I'd put those in their lunchbox, and they love them. They really do. And in fact, they're all grown up now, and they still like them. They still really, really like them. So, all right. Delaney, apricot chicken. Where'd she go? I have to say we still like apricot chicken. It's one of my fallback ones. Jane makes mango chicken. I don't mind mango in things. I can't eat it raw. Okay. Now, someone asked the question. Here we go. Sylvia, yes, you can use this recipe. Just put some sultanas in. Add the sultanas, or chop dates and make date scones, or put some mixed herbs or Italian herbs in with the flour, stir them through, and then sprinkle grated cheese over the top as you bake them, and have savoury scones. Really nice. I like this recipe because there's no sugar in it. It's not sweet, so you're not limited to what you can do with it. Now, they freeze really, really well, and they warm up really, really well in the microwave and just in the oven. Now, if you're going to put them in the oven, I sprinkle them with a little bit of water first so that they don't dry out. They warm through, but they don't dry out. You don't have that issue in the microwave. Okay. Karen's got, will my cream from the freezer be okay to make these ones different? Yeah, it will. Thickened cream in the bottle separates when it thaws. So shake it up if you want to. Sorry, everyone knows I'm the lazy cook, and it just goes in. It just goes in and gets dumped into the thing, and it all gets mixed up together. But it's really, really easy. Hi, Leanne. Let's see. I'm clear. Joy wants to know, where did I get the pastry sheet? I got that pastry sheet because my nearly 40-year-old Tupperware one was so split and cracked, and it was awful. I think there's a set of three, two big ones, which are the size of the baking sheet, and a smaller one, a half-size one, and they were about $12, and it was General Trader or House. I'm inclined to think it was General Trader because House has been closed around here for a long time. I've only had those a couple of years, but they're really, really good. And this one has, I'm going to get stuff everywhere. Whoops. This one has the circles on it for doing your pie bases and tops, or your tart bases and tops. And the other one has the bigger circles for scrolls and things like that you want to roll up. Okay, so I'm going backwards here. Jane's made scones using gluten-free flour, coconut cream. Coconut cream is really good for so many things, and it doesn't necessarily give everything a coconut flavour either. It's a very handy thing to have in the cupboard, and it whips up really, really nicely. Right, now, here we go. Wild Woman's dairy-free and gluten-free. You can use a plant-based cream. Now, there is a kosher cream, and I don't know, I've forgotten the name of it. Any kosher grocer, the kosher section in Coles, you can get it. It's in a Tetra pack, a UHT pack, and it's almost impossible to tell the difference between that and cream from cow's milk. It's really good. It's rather expensive, but anything like that is. So Jane uses soda water. That would stop the sweetness. I think the lemonade, it's the gas in the lemonade that sort of gives them a bit of oomph and a bit of lift. But if you don't roll them, if you just pat them out, you don't roll them, and you go straight down and straight up and have them touching, they rise up beautifully. And I might just switch them around. This new oven has a hot spot. One side is hotter than the other in the bottom oven. It's very annoying. Okay. Alrighty. Now, sorry guys. Apricot chicken. Mango chicken. What is that? Pretend cream and ink you are. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Stale bread, stale scones, stale pizza bases, stale crackers, anything like that. Sprinkle them with a little bit of water and warm them in the oven. Brings them back really, really well and nice and fresh again. Chips, pita chips, that sort of thing, it works for too. Thank you, Melissa. I couldn't wait. A couple of weeks ago, it was so long and scraggly. I knew I was that close to being able to go to the hairdresser or to my hairdresser, and I just couldn't stand it. I just had to do it. Sheena swapped out lamb shanks for chicken with the apricot. I have heard of that before. And I agree, lamb shanks would be very expensive these days. Isn't it funny? They used to get given to you. The butcher would give them to you. They were dog food. Or if you do that with your chops, Joy, just trim the fat off, because lamb chops can be really, really fatty, even with the fat trimmed off them. I can remember the diabetes educator drumming into our heads that lamb is the fattiest meat that we could eat. So, yeah. There you go, Joy. Keep an eye out at the op shop for pastry sheets. I've never seen a pastry sheet. Lots of rolling pins. The Tupperware rolling pins you can get at the op shops, usually $3 each, thereabouts, and they are great for pastry rolling because you can freeze them. They're cold, and pastry cook, pastry has to be kept cold and you have to work quickly with it. You don't want it, if it gets warm and soft, then it toughens up. So the Tupperware ones are really good. Hi, Leslie. Morning in the UK, nighttime here. You're not late. And we're glad to have you. All right. Apricot nectar in cheesecakes is really good, and the fruity tea cake, the one that's just the flour, the fruit, and the cold tea, I do the 2 cups of self-raising flour, some diced apricots, and then apricot nectar instead of cold tea, and that's really nice too. Now, I get the apricot nectar, I go straight to the SPC food, whatever they call themselves. It's not SPC, they sell SPC stuff, but it is not SPC. But still really cheap, and get apricot nectar, the big tins. You can get the 800 ml tins because they're shrinking, for about $1. They're really good. Now I split that and freeze it because I usually only use one at a time. So that works too. Yeah, see, Joy's got a marble rolling pin. I used to have in the house before this one. No, 2 houses ago. No, the house before this one, there was actually in the bench, it was recessed into the bench, a slab of marble, and it was brilliant because marble is always cold. So it's really, really good for rolling pastries and things like that. So your marble rolling pin would be brilliant. I keep waiting to make sure I don't miss the ding of the oven timer. All right, now, there you go. Oh, did I tell you that if you wanted to brush the tops with milk, of the scones with milk, you could before you put them in the oven, or even water. It just helps them brown a bit. I never bother because that's a messy step to me. But, you know, it's what it is. If you like that, you can. Anyway, I did notice with my backwards and forwards to Hannah's, up and down, up and down, up and down, that petrol was actually coming down. Thank you. I was praying when I realised I'd be doing so many trips that it would come down, thank goodness. And then I had to do a hunt for vouchers, dockets, to see if I could find any with 4 cents off. So I found 2, which worked out perfectly. So that was good. And I actually figured out it's much cheaper where Hannah is. Petrol's like 16 cents a litre cheaper than it was here. But anyway, little savings, and they all add up. I was very grateful for that last week. And it made me smile thinking about it, because I think it's the first time I've filled up since our snap 7-day lockdown started 12 weeks ago, 13 weeks ago. I think it was the first time I'd filled up. So it was pretty funny. The week was just, then my week was just lost then, guys, you know. And I had the giggles because I was thinking about it, and I'd called that show, you know, hope for the best, plan for the worst. And I was like, oh my goodness, did I, you know, was it an omen? Had I, you know, was it just ironic? It was just so funny. I'd start to laugh. I was driving down the highway, cackling away to myself. The oven went ding. Let's see. Here we go. Let me see if I can show you. I'll get rid of Joy, sorry. Look, hot. And lift you up a bit. Look at those. Perfect. I'll have happy family now for those. So that's it. 20 minutes in the oven. It's all off. If I had some bread crusts, I'd throw them in to dry, but I haven't got any. Not waste the heat. So they're really, really easy. Leanne, petrol is always expensive in New South Wales. I don't like going to Sydney because it costs so much. And now Wayne's dad doesn't shop like his mum used to, so there's no petrol dollars to snaffle off him. Yeah. Petrol's been really expensive though, and it was just, I was driving up and down, and it's like, it's, you know, it's a 280 kilometre round trip, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm filling up. My car was almost empty, so I had to fill up, and then I just topped it up again with all the backwards and forwards in. So I was up there, and then I had to come home for something, then I flew straight back up. I was only home for, I was actually only here for about an hour and a half, and then back I went again. Oh, it's just crazy. Best thing was, though, I hope for the best and plan for the worst. I had a bag. I have a bag that I keep in my wardrobe, and look, from when I said to you guys last week, I've got to go, sorry, see you later, bye, it wasn't even 10 minutes, and I was out of the house. And I was able to get changed into some comfy clothes because I didn't know what I was walking into, and fill my water bottle and pick up my bag, and it was ready to go, because I have this bag, and the kids laugh at me and joke about it, and it's, you know, ha, mum's they call it Mum's hospital bag. Because it's usually when someone's been carted off to hospital, like, get the bag, get the bag. But it's just it's sort of a cross between a really big handbag and a small overnight bag. It's, you know, and it has things like, it's got a pen and a notebook in it. I keep a spare phone charger in there. Some mints. I've got some cash in there, some coins and a few notes. What else? Oh, a hairbrush, because it never goes in stray. It's got a small makeup purse in there that's got wet wipes and stuff like that in it. Lip balm, hand sanitizer, all that sort of stuff. Just things that, you know, if I get caught somewhere for hours on end or overnight, then it's not such a drama. And yeah, so all I had to do was get changed and throw in a jumper and pick up my Kindle and walk out the door. It was less than 10 minutes. So the kids mock me, but it came in so very handy, because then, as it turned out, she was at the hospital, and I didn't even think, never even occurred to me. But I went straight to the hospital, and I just went in, and I could see her there. So I just, nobody keeps me away from my kids if they need me. And I just went straight in. So I was sitting with her for hours before someone came and said, excuse me, but you're not supposed to be here. There's no visitors. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not a visitor. I'm a mother. And they didn't think that was very funny or, you know, an excuse to be there. So I had to leave her then. But, oh, gosh, it was, you know, I was there. So then I went back to her house, because by then it was the early hours of Wednesday morning. So I just went back to Hannah's house, and I thought, I'll go to bed. And I thought, no, because if they ring me and I'm really tired, I'll go to sleep. I might not hear the phone. So I said to her, her new lounge looks lovely. It's really lovely. It's awful to lie on. So, moral, she said, well, why didn't you go to bed? I said, no, I didn't want to go to bed. So I sort of dozed on her sofa till Wednesday morning. Then I had to keep ringing, because they didn't know they didn't know what was wrong with her. They didn't know when they would be able to get the CT and the ultrasound done. They didn't know if they'd have a bed for her anywhere. There was no bed in emergency. She was dumped actually in the ED waiting room along with half a dozen other people. It's a bit of a schmozzle, but anyway. So I kept ringing. I plagued the life out of them to find out and make sure that she wasn't forgotten and just left, because Hannah, she's confident, but sometimes she won't make a fuss. So anyway, that was it. There you go. These scones, Thomas is going to come out in a minute and tell me, the scones. He'll say, where's the jam? Where's the cream? They smell really good. But I can show you. Look, here, I'll split one. There you go. That's what they look like inside. Well, they're really good. They are so light and fluffy. They really work. So it's not a new recipe. It's an old recipe that's become popular again. If you're in a hurry to make scones, that's the easy way to do it. It takes a few minutes. You're probably not as messy as I am, because I have flour everywhere out here, but that's the way it goes. So, all right. Someone was asking about, I wrote it down, I jotted it down. Where did I put it? Someone was asking about I don't know what I've done with it. I had a question thing here. Doesn't matter. All right, I have to leave it because I can't find it. Sorry, guys, I'm very disorganized. I was actually busy out the front this afternoon and totally forgot that it was Tuesday. I was thinking it was Sunday. Anyway, I was going to say that we oh, that was Leanne. Okay. Sorry, I had a hidden comment there, Leanne. Sorry. I was going to say there's a lot going on in our world. I have some videos coming up that I've done on them. They're different things and how these things are affecting us and what they mean to me, what they mean to the world at large. Because our future is laid out for us, you know. Christians know the future. We know what's coming. We know what to expect in a broad sense. None of us, doesn't matter which church we belong to, none of us know exactly, you know. But we have a broad sense, a broad idea of what's happening and what's coming. And so I have a few videos coming up on different ways we can manage. We can't stop. We can't stop. What's happening is happening. We can't stop it. But we can manage it so that it's not, I was going to say it's devastating, but it will be devastating. It is devastating, so that it's not as final for us. You know, there's a lot of things going on that we don't always understand them. And I'm a slow learner. You've heard me say that before. I'm a slow learner. I need to be slapped in the face with that fish before I realize. So could you ask it again, please, Beverly? Sorry. I'm a slow learner, so I have to think about things, and I like to do my research, and I like to find out, and I like to dig deep and get the nitty-gritty going so that I know, because I like to be sure. Yes, Julia, SPC Foods Bayswater is not actually SPC. It is a it's gone. Anyway, but it's not actually owned by SPC. Hello, Maureen. Who am I looking for? I'm looking for Beverly. Folks, we need to look after ourselves. We need to be responsible for ourselves. We need to not rely on someone else to fix our problems for us. We're adults. We're grown-ups. We have brains. God gave us a brain that's capable of independent thought. We need to use that brain. We need to, if you don't know something, ask. There is no excuse for not knowing how to do something in this day and age. You can ask. And with the internet at everybody's fingertips, it's easy to find the information. But if you're not sure, ask. We need to stop expecting someone else can you use a thickened mixture of powdered milk if you don't have cream? Similar to evaporated milk, perhaps? I don't know. You want to be brave enough and try it and let us know? That would be really, really good. I haven't done that. We don't use a lot of cream. We go through a lot of yogurt, a lot of plain yogurt. We go through heaps of that, but I don't use a lot of cream. Usually if I buy cream for a specific thing. So I've not tried it. But if you did the evaporated milk recipe with the powdered milk, and that's a cup of milk powder to 2/3 of a cup of water, check back on our website for that, because I might have that round the wrong way. No, it's definitely more milk powder than water. That might work. Who knows? But if you want to try it, let us know how it goes. And I will be waiting to see. The only thing I think of is powdered milk does have a distinctive flavour. Doesn't necessarily matter in baking, but it could be. Wild Woman, it's, you know what? It's right through the Old Testament, right through the New Testament. Our whole Bible is leading up to what will happen at the end of time. And it sounds really glib when I say I believe we're living in end times, but my great-grandma believed she was living in end times too, but she was, because all of time, it's leading up to the end of time, as we say. So there's a lot. There's a lot in our Bibles that points us in the right direction. It tells us not to be scared, but to be aware. It tells us to be prepared. It tells us to be ready. So and I'm more than happy to have shows about that and talk about that. If that's what you're interested in, we'll keep it so that's not a cooking show and it's not a debt show. We can do that. I'm happy to do that. If you let me know, then we can do that, because the more we know, the easier it is for us to prepare and to do and to learn and to be ready. Paula, I might do, all right. There's lots, Paula, that all right. I will do some shows about this. They may not be, not necessarily live, but we might do some lives too, because the sharing is how we will learn. And I will get you some links to some really good websites. Maureen, I think we're in the end times too. My grandma, my great-grandma, I don't know, I think I've talked about her before. She used to live with us for 4 months of the year. Then she lived with my auntie for 4 months, and then she lived with my other auntie for 4 months. So until I was 13, I had her in our lives all the time, pretty much all the time. And she was never without her Bible. And she could, her Bible knowledge, we need that knowledge. We need to know. Grandma was amazing with her Bible knowledge. And her complete and utter lack of fear. She was not worried about the future at all. And that's what I want. I don't want to be worried about the future. The Great Reset, Wild Woman, the Great Reset. I started to read a thing this afternoon and got called away, and I need to go back to it. But it was pretty much that I think because everyone knows that the World Bank, and we've got the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we've got the World Health Organization, we've got the World Bank, we've got Klaus Hoosie Wopsits, all doing their thing, and lots of people. But for a very long time, people have been working towards the elite. I don't like that term, but for want of a better word, let's call them the elite, have been working towards one world and one world government. Now, I can remember saying when Barack Obama became president of the United States, and everyone's going, isn't this wonderful? Great, man, wonderful. I can remember saying, he's a dangerous man. And I still believe that. He was a very dangerous man. He wanted one world. He was working for one world, and he was working for one world government, and he wanted to be in charge of that government. And he still does. He's a dangerous, dangerous man. I can remember at the time, and people were like, no, rubbish. Don't be ridiculous. It's the best thing ever. You know, the first Black American president, the first. No, not good. Glennis. Okay. All right. Yvonne, end of time? Cool. Okay. So I say, be a preparer. Don't be a prepper, because they do it the wrong way. They're afraid. I'm not afraid. I can prepare, and I know that there will come a time, it doesn't matter what I do, it just won't be enough. It won't work. But I know that, so I can sort of prepare myself for that. It's really interesting, isn't it? Glennis has got some canning lids, $20 from Marketplace. 96. Oh my goodness, Glennis, 96. 96. Are they all new? If they're new lids, oh my, that's a bargain of the year. 96 canning lids for $20. That's amazing. Oh, that is a brilliant price. If they're all new, if they're used lids, then they can be used for water bath canning or for jams, marmalades, for vacuum sealing, but they can't be used. You cannot reuse them for pressure canning, just to clarify. But that's a brilliant price. Oh, I'm so excited. I'd do a happy dance. I'd be running up and down the street cheering. That is amazing. Oh, it's great. That is brilliant. Bye, Joy. Here we go. Julie, Proverbs 31, and she smiled at the future. Yes, she did. I have some studies on different things. Proverbs 31 woman compared to the 2021 woman, and how we face the future. Okay. I'm not afraid. No, I don't. Nothing to be afraid of. Glennis, she said there's sevens. Sevens. That doesn't mean anything to me. Do they have a brand name on them? Are they stamped with a name? I know that I had a whole heap just here on the bench, and I ran them out just before tea tonight. The ball lids, the regular mouth, the wide mouth, there's ball lids, and they're a pretty standard size, and they can swap with the what's the English brand? Starts with K. They're interchangeable, but Amazon, if you go on Amazon or eBay, you will often see they're unbranded, they're generic, they're plain, imported from overseas. Those lids do not fit ball jars. They do not fit the cur jars. They do not fit I've forgotten the English brand, and I've got heaps of them. Anyway, they don't fit. Whereas with those, they're all pretty much a standard size. They're interchangeable. These lids might say that they are the same size as the ball jars. They're about 2 mil, which you would think wouldn't make a difference. They're about 2 mil smaller. And what that means is they don't actually form a seal. They don't form a seal for pressure canning. They don't form a seal for vacuum sealing. They don't form a seal for water bath camming, because they don't fit over the jar properly. So Kilner, thank you, Leslie. I've got heaps of them. I've got heaps of Kilner jars and lids. And yeah, thanks, Narelle. It is Kilner. So just be really careful with them. And the other thing is the rubber compound that actually forms the sort of the sticky seal bit. With the old method used to be with ball lids and things like that, you had to heat them, put them in boiling water to let them heat, and that softened that rubber compound. Now that hasn't been, haven't recommended that for, I don't know, quite a few years now. But with these other plain label lids, you do still need to do that. It's a different compound. It's not quite as thick as the ball one, so it needs to be softened so that it will actually stick to the top of the jar. Yeah. She ordered the wrong size. Yes, Delaney, there are threads in the forum for Christian chat. Yes, most definitely. Yeah, all right. Well, try them, Glennis. All you can do is try them. Now, if I would do a small batch first, a small water bath, if that's what you want to do, small vacuum sealing, they'll probably be, they could be okay. But just do a small batch first so that you're not wasting a whole lot of food if you do a big batch and they don't seal properly. And that might give you a good idea. At the very worst, use them for jam. I don't water bath my jams. Hot jam into hot sterilized jars with hot lids. And I've never had a jar of jam go moldy. And I've got fig jam on my shelf from Mum's Fig Tree. And it would be coming up 4 years, I guess, because it was the last time I could get the figs. And Mum had this huge fig tree, so I went a bit crazy on the figs and fig jam, which I absolutely love. But it's still fine. It's perfectly fine. I haven't, but I don't water bath my jams. I don't put wax over them, paraffin over them, anything like that. Hot jam, hot jar, hot lid, and that seems to work well. So at the very least, they'll be good for jams, pickles, mustards, that sort of thing. They will all be fine for. But let us know. Yeah. All right, guys, it's 8:35. I need to clean up my mess. You should see that I've got flour from one end of this kitchen to the other. I do not know how I do it. Anyway, I will post some links for. I'll let you know when the shows come up, but I will work on them. I've got some already started. You'll just get your notification. If you're subscribed, you click the subscribe button and hit the bell. You get notified automatically when there's something new, whether it's a live show or a recorded show. So, my train of thought, I have been like a brainless twit this week. It's gone. Something else. Doesn't matter. Thank you so much for joining me. Try your 2 ingredient scones. The old is new. See if you like them. They're really good. I will be back next week with this week's show. I'll try and catch up. Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe. New South Wales is in for a drenching. If you're in a flood area, I hope you don't flood. If your garden needs the rain, I hope it gets what it needs. Everyone stay safe and well, and I will see you next week. Good night.